So the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett with their first round selection in this past year's NFL draft. He played his college ball at Pitt. The Steelers and Pitt share the same facility, so he pretty much isn't changing anywhere besides, the uniform. And if you guys didn't see my reaction to Kenny Pickett getting drafted, at first I wasn't thrilled about the selection because I wanted Malik Willis. Malik Willis was my favorite player in this year's draft, and we passed on Malik Willis. But I was happy with either Willis or Pickett. Still doesn't take away from the fact that the Steelers still address the quarterback position. And Mike Tomlin said that, there's going to be competition and there's going to be the chance that Kenny Pickett potentially could play week 1 this upcoming NFL season. And if Kenny Pickett is able to win the starting quarterback job, which I believe that he will, and he starts week 1, I think that he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like, you look at all of the rookie quarterbacks who were drafted in this past year's NFL draft, I feel like Kenny Pickett, out of all of them, landed in the best situation. Pittsburgh has a pretty good group of wide receivers. You have Deontay Johnson, who is coming off a breakout season. He's the best wide receiver that the Pittsburgh Steelers currently have on the roster. Great route running, really good when it comes to creating separation. He's the most dynamic wide receiver on the Steelers offense. Then you have Chase Claypool, who is a really good deep ball threat when you're trying to push the ball downfield vertically. He's really good when it comes to catching 50-50 balls. It's just the fact that Pittsburgh at times struggles to find ways to get Chase Claypool involved in the offense. Then you have tight end Pat Friarmuth going into his second season. He looks to be on par with having a breakout season because he had a really good rookie season last year, and I think that he's probably going to end up becoming the security blanket over the middle for Kenny Pickett in third down situations. Then you have Nanjay Harris, who was the best rookie running back in the league last year. You also drafted wide receivers George Pickens, who could end up being one of the best wide receivers from this wide receiver draft class. Then you also have Kelvin Austin out of Memphis, who pretty much is a slot receiver, a really dynamic slot receiver, and also he can be a little bit of a gadget player at times. So there is a lot of talent around Kenny Pickett. However, the offensive line definitely probably is the biggest concern that a lot of pundits are going to have, and what a lot of people are probably going to use against the argument for Kenny Pickett winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. But you don't have to have a great offensive line to have a good rookie season. Look at Joe Burrow. You look at Justin Herbert. Those are two quarterbacks who had pretty successful rookie seasons despite not having the best of offensive lines. So the offensive line situation for Pittsburgh isn't necessarily as bad as what it was last year, because this year your offensive guard situation is pretty good. You're going to have Kevin Dotson and James Daniels, who the Pittsburgh Steelers signed in this past year's free agency. He was one of the best offensive guards available in free agency. Played a couple of years with the Chicago Bears. He was their best offensive lineman. So the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line definitely has improved compared to where they were a year ago. However, the tackle spot scares me, and it probably should scare Kenny Pickett, because a lot of analysts were harping on Kenny Pickett's inability to stay inside the pocket. He isn't really great when it comes to his presence inside the pocket. He kind of bails out when he just gets a little whiff of pressure. And that's something that can be improved. That's something that can be developed. But if you're going to help Kenny Pickett improve in his ability to get more comfortable in the pocket and to stay and throw inside the pocket, you have to make sure that the offensive line helps out in that regard. Because Chuks Okorafor and Dan Moore as your two starting offensive tackles, doesn't really look like a recipe for success. And, you know, the Steelers are kind of looking for Dan Moore and Chooks to kind of develop into solid starters. You're not looking for them to become great offensive tackles, but you're just looking for serviceable offensive tackles. And you look at Dan Moore, Chooks Okorafor, these are guys who were late round picks. They were late round selections. So the Steelers have kind of been having high hopes for those guys kind of to develop into okay starters, and so far the development still hasn't really been to the point that Steeler fans are looking for. So this year kind of is like make or break seasons for both of the starting offensive tackles in Pittsburgh. So these two starters that they have are pretty much hit or miss, and if they end up being okay, then Kenny Pickett could have a really fantastic rookie season. He could end up having one of the best rookie seasons in recent NFL history because he's really accurate, makes really good choices with the football. So as long as the offensive line, at least the offensive tackles, are able to at least be average, Kenny Pickett is going to put up some fantastic numbers. Now, the AFC North is a really tough division, but the Steelers have the best defense, or one of the best defenses in the NFL, so that's going to help out Kenny Pickett. So if Kenny Pickett does have a couple of turnovers here and there, you're going to have a defense that's going to be more than good enough to bail him out. And he has one of the best coaches in the NFL in Mike Tomlin. And I know everybody has their different views on Mike Tomlin, but regardless, you still can't deny the fact that Mike Tomlin happens to be one of the best coaches that we have in the game, at least top 5. So with him going to one of the best organizations in the NFL, a very good head coach, a very talented roster, I think that Kenny Pickett should be able to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I'm willing to bet money on this. Like, if you were to ask me to bet $1,000 right now on any upcoming rookie who I think has the best odds at winning Rookie of the Year, I just think that it has to be Kenny Pickett, because out of all of the rookie quarterbacks that were drafted in the draft, Kenny Pickett, you can say he went to the best situation, because the Steelers have a team that right now, although it's not built to win a Super Bowl, this is a team that with a solid quarterback is more than capable of being able to make it to the playoffs, because the Steelers made it to the playoffs last year with an aging Big Ben Roethlisberger. They made it to the playoffs and even won the AFC North division the year before that, and they were able to win 8 games with Mason Rudolph and Devlin Duck Hodges, maybe 2 of the worst quarterbacks in the league that year. So if Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have been able to have success in the past with, you know, not having the greatest quarterback play, imagine what they can do if Kenny Pickett ends up having a really good rookie season. And there's really no reason for Kenny Pickett not to have a good rookie season. Some people are probably going to say JT is going to take some time, things aren't going to mesh right away. Like, listen, if you draft a quarterback in the first round, I expect him to pop right away, okay? Like, I'm not somebody who is a fan of wasting first-round picks on guys who need a couple of years to develop. Like, if I'm using a first-round pick on you, you better be able to have high potential, high upside, and you also better be able to contribute day one. Because if you can't contribute day one, then I don't think you're worth a first-round selection. So for Kenny Pickett, you know, I expect him to come in and be able to weather the storm, because all the Steelers really need is a quarterback. Like, all the pieces are there. Now, although some of the pieces aren't the greatest working parts, you get what I'm saying? There still are more than enough working parts for Kenny Pickett to be really good. So if you were to ask me, JT, what is your projected stat line for Kenny Pickett if he is able to start for the Steelers this year? I think he probably throws 26 touchdowns, has 12 interceptions, and completes at least 64% of his passes and throws for probably 3,800 yards or maybe 4,000 yards. Like, I don't think he's going to have a lot of passing yards, simply for the fact that the Steelers are still going to be a team that's going to be primarily putting a lot of emphasis on running the football with Nanjay Harris. However, you are going to see more RPOs. You're going to see a little bit more design quarterback runs. Even though Kenny Pickett isn't, you know, the most athletic quarterback, he does have athleticism, but he's not Lamar Jackson, anything like that. However, he does give you some mobility at the position, which I definitely feel like offensive coordinator Matt Canada is going to take advantage of that, because Matt Canada wasn't really able to run the kind of offense that he wanted to run last year. His offense is more predicated on motion, jet sweeps, RPOs. So now we're going to see more RPOs this year with having a more mobile quarterback. And I think that the play calling, hopefully, cross your fingers and pray to God, it improves, because the play calling was absolutely atrocious. And for Kenny Pickett, not only is he going to have to overcome a bad off the tackle situation, but he may have to overcome bad play calling, which is something that if you're a first round selection, you kind of have to do. So for Kenny Pickett, I think that he's in a really good situation, although he does have a couple of areas of concern. There also are a couple of areas on the offensive side of the ball that Pittsburgh kind of has some question marks. But overall, Kenny Pickett, I would be really surprised if he doesn't end up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year this season. But you guys let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. Check out the JT Sports Podcast, and I appreciate you guys for listening in.